any child is not something that begins when they reach school age. It begins at birth. But often when parents discover their child has learning trouble or a disability, they don't know what to do, how to proceed, or where to turn. Kids on the Move is a group of professionals and volunteers which provide high-quality support to families of children with special needs. For more than 25 years, they have served the people of Utah Valley with parent training, home visits, and group activities. Please enjoy this short video about this remarkable organization.
My name is April. My husband is Mike. We have an 18-month-old daughter, Kenley, and we have a 3-year-old son, Camden. I got an article in a magazine that came to my house, and it showed signs. It was talking about a child with autism, and it had some of the things that kids with autism do. And I knew nothing about it. And they were, they said that they walk on their toes, and they will walk next to the wall and watch stuff out of the corner of their eye, and all these things that I had no idea were autism that I thought were Camden.
Kids on the Move is a nonprofit here in Utah County. The initial mission that Kids on the Move was sort of founded with was to provide early intervention services to children from 0 to 3 years of age who have developmental delays or disabilities.
My name is Aubrey Zaruba, and I'm an early intervention specialist in the early intervention program at Kids on the Move.
The provider from Kids on the Move, our provider was Aubrey, and she came out to our house once a month, and she works with Camden.
She was kind of one of the first people that he would actually interact with, and he didn't like a lot of the contact from other people, but he became good friends with her, and through that she helped him to become a little more social and to be able to accept new faces and new people.
Good job! That's the soaring up the sky.
I have 2 children. My daughter's 13, my son's 10, and both of them are on the autistic spectrum. Kids on the Move helped us to see what our options were. We chose to get our son enrolled in ABA therapy at a young age, and my son is still autistic. My son's not cured, but he's a happy child who communicates with his parents, who lives a very, very happy life. The sooner these kids get help, the more effective it is.
Yes.
When we first came to Kids on the Move, or when we were first introduced to Kids on the Move, we had a number of children, and Seth was born with Down syndrome, and we really weren't sure what we were going to do. One of the big things that Kids on the Move did for us was also introduce us to other people in the same situation. Mm-hmm. This year, Seth played on a normal T-ball team, and
He did
did
really
well.
He did really well.
And, when we come back to Kids on the Move and think of how limited he was in what he could do back then, it's just amazing. And I think a lot of it has to do with the training and the therapy that he went through from early stage. That early intervention has a great effect on later years.
Yeah.
For me, Kids on the Move is 2 things. Number one, it's here in our valley. It's helping our children. It's not some esoteric thing out, wherever it might be. And I appreciate everything everybody does, but I want to make sure, first of all, that our children are taken care of, that our friends' children are taken care of, and that our neighbors' children are taken care of. It's here in our valley, it's here in our community, and it's our children. And frankly, I believe it's our responsibility to make sure that the services are there.
It has such a far-reaching thing that it's going to do generations. It's not just going to do 1 or 2 kids. It's not just going to do your kid. It's going to do a lot of people and help them out.
I do it because it's so rewarding to see these kids make progress and to see them doing things that they wouldn't have done without early intervention.
He went from no communication to where he's at in 18 months through the help of Kids on the Move.
I realized that it was part of a puzzle, and each piece built on something else, and he needed all this help.
They've helped us so much, and they've helped so many children and families that it's just a great service to have.
Their outcome depends on what you're willing to do for them and what other people can help you learn so that you can do it for them.
If you'd like to know if there is a group or program in your area like Kids on the Move, call 211 Information and Referral. This service is in place to direct residents of Utah to resources that are available in your area. The information provided by 211 is free and it's always confidential. And the number to call in and speak to us tonight about inclusive education is located at the bottom of your screen at 1-800-298-5298. And we're joined now by one of the founders of Kids on the Move, Karen Hani, and the inspiration behind her work with this organization, her outstanding son, Reed. Karen and Reed, thank you for being here.
Our pleasure.
What a pleasure. Reed, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we have to know how first Reed came into your life.
Well, it's one of those miracles. We were older. I was 42. My husband was 40. We weren't going to adopt any more children. We had some adopted children, and everybody was potty trained and mobile, and
diapers were gone.
Yeah, you know, hiking up Temp and all of this kind of stuff. And the day that I was going to sign a contract to teach again, Reed came into our family, into our lives. And later on, as we were talking about this as a family, I realized that really Reed had come in answer to prayer, because I had older children and I was really praying that they wouldn't be selfish and they'd be caring about others. And it dawned on me that Reed came in answer to that prayer, and I thought, wow, how perfect is that?
Tell me how it feels to have your mom say that you're an answer to prayer.
My mom helps me, and she can help me with the abilities that I have.
Yeah, you have a lot of abilities, and throughout the show we're going to find out just how outstanding you are, because you are one of the most brilliant men we have. So we're going to be talking with you a little bit more about that. But first, we do have a call from Laura, and we should point out that, of course, our guest Karen has a master's in special education, not only from just life experience, but from education as well. So looks like we have a call right now, Laura in Park City. Laura, what's your question? And welcome to Ask 11.
Thanks. I'm Laura Gissel. I was born mentally retarded, and I lived on my own for 20 years. I have bipolar depression. I go to work at Pizza Hut 3 days a week. I do my own cooking. I do laundry. I play the piano. I go to church. I crochet. I sew and stuff. I'm a very happy person. I take piano lessons and interact with other people. You still there?
I'm still here. I'm just listening, and I'm astounded at everything you've accomplished. Congratulations, Laura. And her point of sharing that is that individuals, children with special needs, can live rich, full lives.
She has a great quality of life, doing the things she wants to do.
Well, and let's talk about how you wanted that for Reed, and you've given that for him, but you did that when you first adopted Reed and he came into your beautiful family, and you identified what Down syndrome was and what some of those challenges would be. You were very proactive. You went out of state to get some help.
Well, one of the things I realized was Reed could stay in school until he was 22, which would make me not quite as old as I am now. And I kept thinking, how is Reed going to become a person in our community? How is he going to have friends if he's always segregated and sent away? If he's always the kid that gets on the bus to go far away to school, then I'm going to be too old to accomplish these things. And so right from the beginning, our thought was, no, he has to go to school where his brothers and sisters go. He has to live in our community and be on the soccer team and do those kinds of things in order to have a full life.
So you kind of had your expectations and you were setting them as high as you could for Reed, which has paid off beautifully. But you traveled out of state, you learned and had some experts maybe give you an idea. What did they say to you about what to expect for Reed?
One of the first conferences that I went to in Washington, D.C., there was a man named Rudd Turnbull who was presenting. He has a son with autism. And he told this whole audience of parents of children with Down syndrome, he said, take the highest expectation you have for your child. And he gave us a minute to think about it. And then he said, double it. And you'll be getting close to their potential. And that's what's happened Reed's whole life. We haven't reached his potential yet, and it's quadrupled. And, you know, that's what every parent should hear about every child.
Mm. Well, and Reed, since you have quadrupled and gone so very far in your life, tell us how it felt for you to go through school. Because you're in college right now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What did it feel like for you to be in classrooms and with other kids at school?
When we sit in class, we sit and listen to the teacher. We take notes. And for me, I have a hard time with notes. Mm-hmm. And I have a note taker to help me to take notes.
At the university?
Utah University mm-hmm. in Provo. Mm-hmm. And I have...
you want to be a teacher?
I like to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm. A teacher who teaches what type of education?
Oh, I am majoring in special ed, and I like to be a teacher there.
All right, so he's actually majoring in special education, which is why I was saying.
A lot of classes, yes.
Yes, and you have a note taker who takes the notes, and you study those and go.
Yes.
And do you like being in the classroom with?
Yes, mm-hmm. I do. But it's challenging for me, mm-hmm. but I listen to the teacher, and I study a lot, and when you get done, you get a grade.
Mm-hmm. He always, all the way through school, had really great friends. And we always ran into teachers who felt it was his right as a child to be in the school, in the classroom. We had a resource teacher who said, the most important thing I can teach him this year is reading. Get his reading skills up, because that's going to serve him long after mm-hmm. school is over. But we met wonderful teachers who said, you know, I haven't had a child with Down syndrome in my class, but let's see how it goes. And at the end of the year, without fail, each of those teachers said to the effect, this has been my best year of teaching. I've learned that I can teach kids, not categories of kids, but kids. And my classroom has been kinder and gentler, and we've accomplished a lot. And most of them attributed to having Reed in the classroom. So
did you have to work with each of your teachers, each of Reed's teachers, for them to recognize just how much intelligence Reed had and what his abilities were?
We often said to the teacher, our goal in the classroom wasn't that the teacher would bring him up to grade level, because as he got older, that got harder and the gap got bigger. Our goal for having Reed in the classroom was to learn to be a 10-year-old at Suncrest or a 15-year-old at Mountain View, and have friends and develop community and expand his skills, which happened way beyond what we had ever expected, because when he got in the classroom, he was so motivated by his peers and the teachers. He tried out for plays. He was in the a cappella choir. Wonderful teachers and lifelong friends.
Well, and those lifelong friends, after high school, and you graduated from high school with your friends, when they were 19, they left and went on missions. What did you want to do when you were 19?
I served in 2 missions. I was a service missionary at Utah Valley University in the Institute, mm-hmm. and also I served in Nauvoo, Illinois.
So 2 different missions. One
yes.
as a service missionary at the Institute, and another all the way in Nauvoo, Illinois.
Yes.
And what kind of things did you do in Nauvoo?
I was an ordinance worker. It was a calling.
We worked in the temple.
Mm-hmm. Yes, at the Nauvoo temple. Mm-hmm. And also I was a sites. I worked in the sites mm-hmm. and in the visitor center.
And he got to perform, which was right down his alley.
I think I've seen a picture of you performing on the stage at Nauvoo. And you've had many opportunities, and you have fans and friends all around the world because they traveled to Nauvoo. And you've inspired a call right now. We have Tracy from Springville who's on the line with a question. Tracy, welcome to Ask 11. How can we help you tonight?
Thank you. I had a question. It seems like you are very active in the Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
your
good.
question is about his activity.
It sounds like the mother here was very active in her son's education. And I was just wondering if she maybe had some tips for parents who were trying to get their children more involved with the inclusive environment.
I love that, because it's not just in the classroom. You had them involved in choirs and all that. So, okay, what's your advice? And thank you, Tracy, for calling.
Well, my advice is to have faith in your child and to have faith in the community. There were people who told us that if we put Reed in a regular school, we would be throwing him to the lion's den. We found that didn't happen, that there were people there were always people that didn't share your dream or your expectation, but we met people all along the way who maybe thought we were a little crazy in our expectations, but there's a whole community of people who will accept your child on a t-ball team or a soccer team, which is the best way to make friends. And I always looked at what were my other children doing at this age, and how can we help Reed participate. Maybe he didn't do things that all the other kids did in the same way, but he found a way to participate and have a lot of fun and grow in the experience. So I would just say have faith in your child and work with the system.
What about your fear? Because I think, Tracy, too, maybe another follow-up question would be, what about your fear as a child or as a parent that your child might get his feelings hurt or maybe rejected?
One parent told me that she would never put her child in a regular high school because she was afraid that her child would be teased. And I looked around, and my other children were teased, and they had to learn how to deal with it and how to handle it. And so we talked to Reed about being comfortable around kids, and if kids were teasing him and he didn't like that, then what he could do, how that he could become his own self-advocate and become stronger that way. Kids are going to tease. How are you going to react to it?
What were some of those things, Reed? If people tease you, what should you do about it?
Well, I get sad and lonely.
Yeah, you have feelings
I
too.
have, I have feelings. If someone hurts me, I cry.
But you remember a red flag, that if there's a red flag, you get out of there or you fight a friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And were you always able to find a friend?
Yes, I have friends. I have many friends, and my family helps me.
And that's a reason for building community, so that your child does have friends.
Whether it is friends he meets on the soccer field, or the friends he meets on the t-ball field, that those children will be with him at the school or college. Thank you for bringing that to us. We have another call. Sheila from Salt Lake is calling right now. Sheila, welcome to Ask 11. How can we help you tonight?
I would like to ask this sweet lady, I didn't get the name because I came in later, but I'd like to ask her, I have a 22-year-old daughter that is special needs and deaf and has decided that she wants to be a nurse, but does not even qualify, pass the test for ATC. What direction would you suggest I go?
I would look at what part of nursing she wants to be involved in. Is it because she wants to help others? Is it because she wants to wear a uniform? Does she want to be out in the community? And then you can look around your environment and help her have some meaningful contribution. You know that she probably will never become a nurse, but what could she do that might be nurse-like?
She may be able to volunteer at a hospice center or
even with pets, or what is it about nursing that she really likes, and then help her achieve that
and
with what she can do with her abilities
and that innate desire she has to make a difference and to help. And for those who just joined us, this is Karen and Reed Hawney, and Karen is one of the founders of Kids on the Move, And I should mention that you believe that Read is really the inspiration. And Kids on the Move, in general, it keeps you quite active supporting other parents. And
Well, I retired a few years ago. It is still going great, but it was founded on the premise that parents are their child's best teacher, and that they needed to be included in all parts of their child's education. They need to be part of the team. They need to share the dream. They need to be able to talk about their child's strengths, because I believe you don't come from a disability viewpoint. You come from the ability viewpoint. And Reed is always going to have Down syndrome, and we're okay with that. We think Down syndrome is great, but we don't focus on the can'ts and the won'ts and the don'ts.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on all the good do's.
And do you remember how old you were when you learned to read?
I was about like 7 or 8.
You remembered that in school, but your mom says it was even earlier too. How old
You
was
wouldn't
it?
remember this, but you were only 3.
Oh.
We were at Kids on the Move. It had just barely started, and he was reading the names of all his friends in his class. And when I recognized that, I said, oh my goodness, we cannot put a lid on what he's capable of. We have to keep providing opportunities and then just watch what happens.
What a great motto for every parent of any
Yes,
child.
any child,
To have
yes.
that idea. We also have a call on, I believe it's Jonathan calling in from Orem. Jonathan, welcome, and how can we help you tonight?
I just wanted to ask the mother, what are some good programs that have helped? Is it Read? What are some good programs that have helped him to learn how to read and also communicate?
Great, thank you.
The best program was being in the regular elementary school with his peers. He went to Resource, where I explained that his teacher felt it was really important that he learn to be a better reader. But being in the classroom and being with friends, we always did the library read program during the summer. Anything that you see other children doing, see how your child can be involved.
So it wasn't as if you went on the internet, and searched this or went to a store and bought a certain program.
No.
You said life will teach Reed if he's involved in it. Is that correct? Whether it be
That's
school or
correct.
sports. Okay,
Yeah.
great. I hope that answered your question, Jonathan. We have more calls on the line right now, and we'll be getting to one of those. And if you'd like to place or make a question or give us a question, you're welcome to do that. Our toll-free number is open at 1-800-298-5298. We're talking to Karen and Reed Hani. Reed is the inspiration behind Kids on the Move, and Karen, one of the founders, and we'll get to those questions in just a bit. You talk about not putting a lid on a child's potential and ability. Even now, Reed, what are you dreaming? What do you dream to do? What would you like to do in life?
I to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping I drive. I'm not sure about that, but also I want to have a new house or getting married.
Yeah. All the things that we all hope
All
for.
do.
And you're helping others with disabilities. You're a member of an important council. Is it the Utah Developmental Disability Council?
Yes.
What kind of things do you do there?
I am a citizen member of the Utah Disabilities Developmental Council, and we helped, they talked about the other things of learning about, they want to be teachers or leaders,
Well, they want good jobs.
good jobs.
Yeah, and if I may read, they talk about access to education, transportation, just issues like that for the disability community. It's a civil rights issue. Access to quality of life, things that the rest of us take for granted.
And there are organizations within the state
Yes.
that support those with special needs and learning disabilities and wherever they may be on the array to be involved and working. Do you have a special dream of what kind of job you'd like to have?
I would like to be an actor.
An actor too. That experience in Nauvoo lit that for you as well. And well, I congratulate you on everything that you've accomplished. And of course, we've got some more calls that are coming in as well. Kids on the Move is accessible in the Utah County area.
It serves Orem North.
Okay. And are you seeing that there are other parallel programs across the nation for other communities as well?
Well, federal laws establish programs, and so there was the Education for All Handicapped law that was passed in 1975, I believe, and then through that came services to infants and toddlers, not just school-age children, and so each state has to provide programs such as Kids on the Move, and so there's federal funding to help, because the premise is the earlier that you can help parents, the better for the child it is.
Well, we've seen how it's given Reed so much opportunities to develop his potential and his dreams. I know that you've also had parents, not just the teachers, but parents tell you that their children have been changed by being able to go to school with Reed. Just give us an idea of what you hear from his classmates' parents and from the classmates themselves.
Well, everywhere we go, people know Reed, and they'll all come up and hug him and say, I love this guy, I love this kid. Do you know this? I love Reed. So we're just used to it. I mean, this happened in Yellowstone, it happened and on a cruise. Some people came up and said, oh, I love Reed, I love Reed. So he's had a big impact just by being who he is. Doesn't go to his head at all, although he did say when someone from KUED called about an interview, he said, Mom, I'm really tired of being famous. But he still did the interview and loved it. So.
Well, it sounds like you have a long, beautiful life ahead of you, and you may be even more famous with time, Reed.
Yes,
So.
it's going to be a long time.
It's going to be a long time. Reed, thank you so much for joining us, and Karen Honey, thank you for your passion, not only in Reed, but your passion for inclusive education in general. We also want to thank our earlier guests, Katie Steed and Heidi Abraham. They were from the McKay School of Education at Brigham Young University. We'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. We'd like to know what you think, too. We're curious as to what topics are of concern to you and how we can better serve you and your family. We can be reached by going to our website at kbyu.org. There you can also review some of the information presented tonight by clicking on the Community tab. To find out more information on inclusive education, you may also want to check with the offices of your local school district. For guidance to organizations that work with families of special children or special needs children, you can call 211 Information and Referral, and the staff at 211 can provide you with a list of the groups that offer resources and assistance in your area. We trust that you have found the information presented tonight beneficial. At Channel 11, it's our goal to partner with organizations around the state that can assist you in raising your families. From all of us at Ask 11, thank you for being with us. I'm Rebecca Cressman, and please join us again soon.